Hi guys. We had an excellent meeting yesterday, and based on that excellent meeting and almost finalizing the floor plan, I am really excited to share with you the first pass of the 3D model. So let's just take a quick tour of your bare lot here. We're seeing the gargantuan trees here right in the center of the property, your neighbor's structure right here, as well as a couple of windows of their two-story structure beyond their detached structure. We've got the redwood groves right here at the corner of the property, and of course the huge oak tree right at the point where the flagpole or the panhandle, the very long panhandle, meets your lot. And so with this, I'm really excited to start sharing with you a more finalized version of what I previewed for you yesterday. Let's turn off shadows so this thing renders a little bit faster as I'm orbiting around. So this home is very much inspired by the images that you shared with me of the homes that you thought were inspirational. And I really think that the style of the home that you like fits really perfectly with the floor plan that we've developed. So what we're seeing here is the covered patio section of the home, but instead of just being completely solid roof, I'm opting to include a series of standard skylights ganged up, and this really allows for a fantastic view of the oak tree visible through from the living room, because we'll have a series of skylights here as well in the corner directly above the piano alcove. When you're sitting here in the living room, now you'll have a great connection to that oak tree without allowing for any real views of that neighboring structure here. Your neighbor's structure is pretty much invisible due to the height of this brick-clad veneer wall. And of course, we don't want to just completely eliminate natural light into the living room, so we'll have this long ribbon window here at the top made out of frosted glass. That way, we're not seeing that neighbor's structure. So here's what it would look like if we had clear glass, and I'm just not a fan of that. I say we go with frosted glass here, just to completely eliminate any view of that structure. But plenty of light coming in here. Because this window is right up against the ceiling, this window is going to flood and wash the ceiling plane with light, carrying that light really far into the room. Of course, that's not this room's only access to natural light. We've also got a very small two-sided fireplace here. This isn't going to bring in too much natural light, but still, it's a fantastic feature, visible directly across from the 6-foot wide paired opening at the front entry. And then for more natural light, bear with me while my computer renders here, we of course have the very large sliding glass patio doors, full height, 10 feet tall by about 16 feet wide. These sliding glass doors have a fantastic connection to the redwoods, these gargantuan redwoods coming right down in the middle of this redwood deck courtyard area. This courtyard, of course, being defined by the laundry and powder room pod here, and the nook for Eileen's office, and of course capped off with by the office slash guest house at the opposite corner, at the northern side of the property. So this courtyard area back here feels rather enclosed. It's really just semi-enclosed, right? We've got these large openings to the north here. This whole corner here is completely open. But it sort of feels like a semi-courtyard home. There's that two-sided fireplace again. There's a really nice sort of anchor point here for this outdoor deck area. I'm incorporating a covered pergola. This isn't something that we had talked about when we were looking at the floor plans, but as I was studying this in 3D, it just felt natural to me to carry the roof trim for this 8-foot tall pod. And 8 foot is, I think, fine for a powder room and a laundry room. I don't want this to be too tall and to choke off too much access to your southern sun. So I think 8 foot's right. And it just carries across really nicely in this open pergola that terminates at a beam and a couple posts that maybe we could suspend some swinging chairs from. Of course, we could omit those if you wanted and just make room for a third chaise lounge facing the south. Let's head back inside and take a look at one of those changes that you had asked about yesterday. You'd seen me mock up a rather solid elevator core with the stairs wrapping around it, and I love the suggestion of going with the vacuum powered, the pneumatic elevator shaft instead. Completely glassy, doesn't cut off any of the view through the elevator, through the glass at the stair tower, and so, I think it's a really nice add. I don't think I have too many concerns about it. I was looking into the noise issues that we were talking about yesterday, and it apparently isn't too much of a problem for the elevator tower to have the air pump about 30 feet away. So I would actually propose that we put the power supply, the air pump for this pneumatic elevator, perhaps over Tino's bathroom, in the attic space above Tino's bathroom. I think that might just be perfect spot for this pneumatic elevator power source, so that when you're in here it is really truly quiet. And now the stairs just completely wrap around this open pneumatic elevator glass shaft. We will have to make the steel stringers a bit more robust now that I'm not getting to rely on any wood studs in the elevator shaft walls. I'll have to beef these up, but I'll do that at a later phase. It really doesn't affect the overall design concept. And of course, here we are, we're standing in now what's the open pantry. I was previously during the floor plan exercises showing this area as a closed off space with its own door, but really I don't think it's necessary. I'd rather just see this be open like so and allow for just easier access into this secondary kitchen. And again, you turn the corner here, and now I'm proposing to do some full height shallow storage. This would be great for vacuums or brooms or anything else that's a tall element. And of course it could just be additional pantry storage as well. Could have an appliance garage here over the counter. And this is going to be great. This will host a lot of different appliances for you and a lot of overflow that's not hosted directly in this smaller kitchen here. The side-by-side fridge. I would propose that we could do a pantry cabinet here that could open up and have the microwave inside sitting on a shelf rather than an element that just sits out at the face of the pantry. I've heard some rather bad things about those built-in microwaves, that they break down relatively quickly and you're kind of stuck with it. So I'd rather go with just an appliance that sits inside the pantry cabinet here, if that works for you. We have the door to the garage right there and a door to the outside deck. And now the outside deck is where I'm showing the trash bins as well as some bike storage on the wall here. It's a really nice space with these three redwood groves here, these three redwood trees forming this redwood grove. This is a nice space. I know it's on the north side, but I'd like to see your landscape architect come up with a way of activating this zone for you a little bit more than what I'm doing here just with the 6x6 landing. But boy, I mean, when you come out here to take out the trash, you're going to get a great view of the stairs too. Okay, we'll come in here. And if we keep going down this hallway here, we'll come to Eileen's nook. It's pretty simple. It's just a rather small space, open. This is now no longer a lockable zone. So I do want to make sure that this sort of open design concept works for you and works for how you originally you intended on wanting to close it off, but perhaps that was more like when the nook was inside the kitchen area or more public. Here at the far corner of the house, I'd like to think that this is isolated enough for you, but again, do please let me know if we need to be able to close this off with a locked door. And like we talked about yesterday, I've incorporated some cabinetry inside of the space that's left over. The heat pump's right here down below. Right? Here's the heat pump for the whole house. And above that, I've built in some cabinets above the heat pump. So you'll be able to access a ton of storage for your office. And perhaps we leave a little bit open so you can display some elements that are important to you or that bring you joy when you're in your office. And we would go out this door here, and we would see now what I'm doing is I've developed a little bit more in more detail the office / guest house. I think this pretty simple roof design looks very handsome and complements the rest of the architecture quite well. And I'm taking advantage of those same rich materials that I think you're going to like. The wood siding on the office volume, as well as a brick veneer on the bathroom volume. But to save on some costs, we'll turn the corner with those materials, but the back corner of this smaller structure that you're not really seeing all too often will be just in more affordable stucco. So here you can see the wood siding will turn the corner a little bit, but then we'll transition to stucco at the back here, much like we're doing for the main home as well. Okay, let's head upstairs. So you either take the spiral stairs up or the elevator tube. Let's go ahead and just get ourselves in the elevator. And you know what? Let's enjoy the view of the redwoods as we ride up. Let's go upstairs now. That was a pretty quick ride. Now we would step out of the elevator, or coming up the stairs, we would see this other high window here that allows for some pretty nice compelling views of the sky and the foliage. But this high windowsill doesn't impact your privacy on the balcony. We'd have to get way up high on a box to look over this window and see your master balcony. So any guests coming upstairs or Tino coming upstairs, they won't see that balcony. That was important to me. Before we come to the master suite, let's quickly just take a quick run down this hallway. And we would see the redwood trees through these tall windows. Tino's bathroom will be right here. And again, this isn't finished out yet, but the pump for the pneumatic vacuum, the air-powered vacuum, would be right there above Tino's bathroom and would run through the roofing until it met the top of the elevator shaft right here. More details for that will get worked out after we're done with the use permit. But we can turn the corner and step into Tino's bedroom. Tino's bedroom has fantastic corner windows, 10 foot of height, so he's got plenty of room for a bunk bed, and great views of the oak tree right here. When he's at his desk, he'll have views of the neighbors' structures. I'm not too worried about that. It's his desk. I think it's better to have the bed in a more private spot of the corner. In the corner in a more private spot, I mean to say. At the other end of the hallway, towards the back of the house, we have the Namaste / workout space with the rower and the Live O2 bag tucked into the relatively shorter spot of the home. As we talked about yesterday, there is a daylight plane height restriction in Menlo Park that essentially limits the height of this roof corner to be 19 foot 6 inches above the ground plane down below. And for a 2-story home that's got a 10-foot ground floor, that basically limits this corner here to being about 5 foot 6 above the finished floor of the second floor. I think 5 foot 8 actually. I think that's enough to fit some storage and certainly enough for the live O2 bag. But I would never want you to occupy this zone. But the rest of the room has an average height of about 8.5 or 9 feet, because we do come all the way up to 10 feet here. Now, because this room has a slightly lower ceiling height due to this angle, it was important to me that we go with full height glass here, going all the way down to the floor, so that we make this room feel larger than its footprint actually is. And this is a fantastic connection to the redwood the redwood trees here by going down to the floor. And then I like this idea because we've got this angle to the roof here. I didn't want to crowd this window by matching the same header height. And so instead, what I'm opting to do is to drop this window, which is a standard height operable window, right down to the floor. And I think this would be a great little spot, a great window to look out while sitting on the rower. These full height windows are not operable, they're fixed, but we have the opportunity to break up these full height windows with one section that would have an operable window up high, a fixed window down below, and then this operable window here could give this relatively small room a really great cross breeze while you're working out on the rower. Let's back up a little bit, or head back out this way, and we'll go and take a tour of the master suite. The bedroom and closet are just like what I showed you yesterday, but I do have an updated master bath for you. So when we first enter the room, I'm incorporating that same skylight design that I've got down in the living room in the corner. That same window, or that same skylight configuration, is going to be used here to allow this bedroom that's otherwise blocked from that oak tree by Tino's bedroom beyond. Now you also get a sense for the oak tree foliage up above. And I think this is a fantastic add. But like I mentioned yesterday, I do want to verify with you that you're okay having a skylight in your bedroom. That's not something that everyone wants. Some people want their bedroom just to be completely black if possible. And with a skylight, though, you could have a motorized shade in it that will black out the skylight. You'll still get some light coming around the edges of that blackout shade. So if your desire is to have a blacked out bedroom, I would say let's maybe reconsider doing the skylight here. If, however, you're okay with a little bit of light creep coming around the blackout shade, I think the advantage of having this skylight is absolute. I mean, we just have to have it if you're okay with it. In the master closet too, I've also got a high window in the corner here that allows for views of that oak tree from several points of, well, I shouldn't say several points. There's a sliver of view when you're walking from the balcony. If that master closet door is open, you'd be able to see and appreciate that oak tree. But of course, when you're in the closet, when you go into the closet this way, you'll get to appreciate the oak tree. The balcony is also really nice, great views, excellent connection to these redwood trees. And when you sit in the corner here, it's a fantastic view. Plenty to see. The guardrail here has to be 42 inches above the balcony surface, but it doesn't have to be solid, right? So I'm opting to show this open railing and then a solid railing down below. This solid railing is actually just the same parapet of the ground floor. So this ground floor roof is roofed off and enclosed by this parapet line that just carries all the way across and gives you this really, really clean look for the ground floor living room. And then the second floor master steps back from that, and that space that we have between the master's bathroom and the exterior wall of the ground floor is just a perfect little spot to plant a row of planters that can have some privacy planting growing in it, so that we can have a full height window at the tub without compromising your privacy. Now, these plants will still allow some visibility from the deck, so I would also propose to do some bottom-up shades. But let's take a look at that from the inside so you can see just how worth it is to have that window at the tub. Now with fresh eyes, I suppose that we don't need to have this window coming any bit below the top of the parapet. So maybe I'll just come in here really quickly and just raise this up, say 3 feet. Not too high. Nope, still too high. I want it to be below the parapet, so let's keep it 1 foot off the floor for now. Unhide the tub. And when you're in this tub, it's a fantastic connection to those trees. And with some bottom-up shades, when you stand up in the tub, I don't worry about your privacy being impacted. There's not too many people with views through the foliage of the trees here, through the plants that we have right here on the parapet. But as a last resort, that bottom-up shade will completely protect your privacy and block any views into the tub area. Like we discussed yesterday, the shower area is now right adjacent to the tub. And I tried out a couple other different options about how the window and the shower would relate. And I think it was just the shock of seeing it in its rough form yesterday that I didn't like it. Because after studying it a bit more, I actually do kind of like the composition here of the high ribbon window bridging over the tub area and the shower area. And though it touches here, I don't mind it, but I'd still love to hear your guys' thought on the height of the shower relative to that window there. From the outside, this window is just the perfect length for the overall width of the bathroom. I love the proportions of it. The vanity counter is really a lot longer now. This is ballpark 10 feet wide, so that is a lot of room for 2 sinks. We could even possibly incorporate a vanity spot so there can be leg space here instead of a makeup station perhaps. And then at the end there we're seeing the water closet for the toilet room. So this would have a sliding glass door that would close off the toilet area. And in the toilet room, because I don't want you to be choked off from light when you're in there, now I'm showing the window that was originally for the shower area now is dedicated to that toilet room. But with the frosted glass door that we have here, the pocket door with frosted glass, even when this door is closed, you're still going to get light coming through this water closet. And so this bathroom will be lit on 2 sides, which is important to me. Light coming from here and light coming from there. One other change I made based on our conversations yesterday was that I tilted this roof plane down a little bit steeper than it was before. Originally, I had this wall here for the master bathroom and master closet up at the same 10-foot height as, say, Tino's bedroom and the Namaste room. However, since this is likely your best bet for solar panels, even though we're still heavily shaded by the oak tree, you will get sun coming through in the morning and the early afternoon, very early afternoon. I opted to tilt this down to 9 feet just to give you a slightly better angle for the solar panel performance, but without sacrificing or compromising the aesthetic of the home at all. In fact, I almost think I like it better at this steeper angle. And so what that does, though, is that does limit the master suite closet and bathroom to a 9-foot ceiling height rather than 10. But for the scale of the rooms, I think that's fine. So I'm going to hide the context. Let's turn off the entourage and landscape and just take a quick look at just flying around the house itself without the trees and all the entourage gunking it up. I think this is a really fantastic design, guys. I'm really, really enamored with this home. I find it, to be honest, quite amazing. I love the way it works with the trees. I really hope we can work with the arborist and landscape architect to come up with a deck that does something similar to what I'm showing here as a design concept. But for now, I'd really love to hear your feedback on the design of the home. Thank you guys.